Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Sri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Sri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Napana Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Sri Gauri Giti Guccha, calling on the mercy and for the presence of all of our Guru Varga, beginning with our Gurudev, going up the Parampara all the way to Radha and Krishna, starting with Vandeham, Bandeham, Vandeham. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagano Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sarvekam Samadhutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagano Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangsha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katale Sudaksham Adarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Brahmarinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Pangshirasham Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Jnitaika Hriddi Chaitanya Leela Vritasara Saram Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyaya Keshavarikti Namine Ati Madhya Charitraya Swashritanam Chapaline Jiva Dukhe Sagargayo Shri Rama Premanayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Vaishnavaya Devi Daikaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vidyano Daine Brahmave Namaha
माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानुगनिरुद्धापो सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भारसम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बराय ते घोराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रियो वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्तो राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जयतं सुरतो पङ्गो मम मन्दमते गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यं वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिधिः सेव्यमानं स्मरामि। श्रीमद्रसनसारम्भी वंशिवत्ततस्थितः कर्षन्मेरुस्वरैर्गोपी गोपीनाथश्रीयेषु नः। वृन्दाये तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावग्निर्वापनं श्रेयर्कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यामधुर्जीवनम् आनन्दं गुरुवर्धनं प्रतिफलं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्वपरं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम्। हरे नाम हरे नामेव केवलम् हरो नस्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sadma. What page is that? Sudevi? 28. Shri Guru Charana Padma. And if you don't have a songbook, then Jiva Pavana Prabhu mercifully provides the bhajan in the most recent comment within the thread, so you can follow along.
Scrolling down.
Just scroll to that final position.
He also posts sweet nectar here and there, so like a bee, keep searching, keep scrolling. Thank you, Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas, Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranams.
Kirupe Paivo Seva Mui Durachar by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, page 45. 45. K-I-R-U-P-E P-A-I-B-O Seva. I was just remembering something that I read today, yesterday. Who posted it? Narayan Ashram from Srila Bhaktivedanta Srila Maharaja. He was speaking about sadhus and guru, and we were speaking on that subject the other day. But here he's saying Shri Guru Vaishnava Rati. Narottam Das Thakur is saying Shri Guru Vaishnava Rati, to have attachment to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktivedanta Srila Maharaj was specifically singling out Guru as the main form of the Vaishnava who will appear in our life. We may have so much association with so many Vaishnavas, but that one specific form or that focus of the association of Vaishnavas should be our own Gurudev. And our Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj also confirmed this point. He asked the question, it was at Rath Yatra time when we were in Birmingham, in England. I think we were in the Sikh Gurdwara. He was giving his programs there. And he asked a question, what is more important? Is it more important to try to please Gurudev or try to please all of the Vaishnavas?
No, he said to please, to serve the Vaishnavas to please Gurudev?
He asked the question in 3 different ways. So the first way he asked was, is it more important to try to please all of the Vaishnavas in order to serve Gurudev, or to try to serve all of the Vaishnavas in order to please Gurudev? And then he asked it in another way as well. So everyone was a little bit confused, and then he reiterated his point. Should we try to please all of the Vaishnavas, or should we try to please Gurudev? And then he gave a very interesting answer. He said, you can never please everyone. If you try, you will fail, guaranteed. He said your mood should be how to please Gurudev. So in our service to the Vaishnavas, in our endeavor to serve, our mood should be how to please Gurudev. And this is really what the whole principle of bhakti is about. It's the intention to please the object of our seva, of our love, of our affection, and ultimately our Ishtadev, which is Sri Sri Radha and Krishna Jugal. So with that in mind, yes, my service of the Vaishnavas should be there, absolutely, but the mood should be, will this be pleasing to my Gurudev? And then even more than pleasing, will this be beneficial for my Gurudev? This is part of bhakti, anyabhilashita shunyam. That's why every time that word benefit comes in, because that outweighs immediate pleasure. So will this be beneficial to my Gurudev? Will this pleasing? And my Guru Varga. So this mood should always be there in our endeavors. But it was interesting that he said, if you try to please everyone, you will fail, guaranteed.
He said even one small child you cannot.
Did you hear that? Even one small child you cannot please. So the same principle that we apply at the lotus feet of Krishna, watering the root of the tree, automatically everything is satisfied. Putting food in our belly, automatically the body is nourished and satisfied. Placing our one-pointed love at the lotus feet of Krishna, automatically the entire creation is satisfied. And Gurudev said, first and foremost, apply this mood at the first manifestation of Krishna in our life, which is Guru Krishna, that is Sri Guru. And if we apply this mood, then automatically, even if so many may appear to not be pleased externally, still everything will be rightly situated. But if we serve everyone else and please everyone else, but Gurudev is not served and pleased and not benefited, then what will be the result? We won't receive the desired result.
Jiva Pavana Prabhu said that Srila Gurudev gave the example of watering tulsi at the root and not just the leaves.
At that point.
I believe, I don't know.
During that class he gave that example. That's very sweet. Normally I think of a big banyan tree because of the verse in Bhagavatam, Yataturor Mula Nishechanena.
It's nice, Tulsi's transcendental Vaishnava.
Yeah, so it's nice to think about it in terms of tulsi. Because we always heard that if we're just trying to water each individual leaf and clean each individual leaf, that's like worshipping the individual devas, but you're not feeding the center, the source of all of their potency and power, which is Krishna. So then what will be the real result? Even Krishna says that those who are worshipping the demigods are doing so in the wrong way because they do not understand that everything is emanating from himself. So it's beautiful to think of it in terms of Tulsi Devi, who is the pure devotee of Krishna. So I just wanted to share that in this context. Can you guys do Ananda Kandalitai Chanda?
What do you mean, you want us to sing it?
No, playing with the instrumentation. Can you follow? I think it might be a little complicated. We'll Nitai Gunamani Amar Nitai Gunamani, page 61. No, it has that, you know, where it goes and it changes the beat into a Kamta beat and then goes back into the 2 beat with a long layover in between. It's a bit more complicated.
He's letting the international community understand we are not good at this. But we try, and to try is bhakti.
Gurudev said that. To try is bhakti.
Ramananda posted it. Oh, no, sorry, Nardmuni did.
Who's that?
Nardmuni. He said, there are two conceptions in relation to service to Gurudev. The first conception is, I will serve all the devotees to please Gurudev. The other conception is, I will please all the devotees to serve my Gurudev. Our motive should be, I want to please my Gurudev, not to please everyone else. Whatever we do should be to please Gurudev, not to please everyone else. You can never please everyone else.
Thank you, Nardumuni.
Thank you, Nardmuni, Prabhu. Sorry, my eyes. My glasses.
Page 61, Nitai Gunamani Amar, Nitai Gunamani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta
Radhe
Just looking to see if the next one is possible to do in the afternoon tune. Before I give you a page number, I'm just going to check it out. I'm going to try. 1 second. Page 156. Kali Kukura Kadana Jadi Chao Hai. In glorification of Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. K-A-L-I Kukur K-U-K-U-R-A Kadana K-A-D-A-N-A Jadi Chao Hai. 156. So we rarely sing this bhajan, but I always loved it. If you wish to vanquish the dog-like personality of Kali, then sing the name of Sri Shachinandan, the savior of the age of Kali, who nullifies all fear of Kali. Gaur is the exhilaration of Gadadhar Pandit. He is the treasure of the life of Nityananda Prabhu and the worshipful object of Advaita Acharya. He is known as Nimai, Vishwambhar, the Lord of Srivas Pandit, and he who steals the hearts of the devotees. He is the moon of Nadia, the Lord of Mayapur, and the divine propagator of the holy name. For Grihastas, he is the instructor, and for renunciants, he is their hero. He is Madhava in the bhav of Sri Radha. He is the purifier of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the savior of King Prataparudra, the nurturer of Ramananda Rai, and the great hero. He enhances the bliss of Srila Rupa Goswami, and he is the maintainer of Srila Sanatan Goswami. He is the delight of Sri Haridas Thakur, and he is very grave. He is immersed in Brajaras. He is the destroyer of wicked materialistic philosophies, the purger of hypocrisy from the heart. I guess he is Kapatapadana, and is the transcendental Kamadev, Cupid. He nourishes the pure devotees, expels dry knowledge, demolishes false bhakti, and is the reservoir of all pleasure. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is really throwing all of these transcendental personalities and names into this beautiful bhajan, glorifying all of them in relationship with Sri Shachinandan Gaura Hari. Because Narada Muni made a comment today, I would like to sing Narada Muni Bajai Vina Radhika Ramana Name.
Page 182. And it starts Narada Muni. Narada Muni.
Today we have a little time. So we're going to sing Namami Nandanandanam. So it starts with Shucharu Vaktramandalam.
Page 289.
Yep, and then, if there's time, then Muninda Vrindavandite. 289. We'll do it all together. So it's Srinandanandashtakam, starting with Sucharu Vaktra Mandalam, page 289. Or if you don't have the book, Jiva Pavana Prabhu will very kindly post it in the comment thread. So you just scroll to the most recent comment, and there you will find it. Namami Nandanandanam, Namami Nandanandanam. Page 285, Munindra Brinda Bandite Triloka Shoka Harini, Shri Radha Kripa Kataksha, Stavaraja. Also all together. And every other verse, we're going to do a slight variation on that tune, so you can listen. Indra Vrindavandite Triloka Shokaharini Prasannava Prabhakaje Nikunja
Om
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimidandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Nityanamine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhuktale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Nangayate Giring Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times at the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, astottara Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranams in the foot dust of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, astottara Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga. And also I offer my Dandava Pranam to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including those who are present with us today. My Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
So today we will continue going beyond Vaikuntha, which is the beautiful commentary, one of the beautiful commentaries of our Srila Gurudev on the great compilation, the great work of Sri Sanatan Goswamipada known as Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So before entering into this transcendental treasure, we will pray to the lotus feet of both of them. In the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairaga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatna Rapayanan Mam Anubhipshamandam Kripambudirya Paradukuduki Sanatanastvam Prabhum Ashrayami. Praying in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest within our hearts. Before we start, just see if there are any questions here. Your shirt. Okay. It is the cheapest one I have ever purchased, by the way. Got it in Jaipur for like 180 rupees. So thank you for that. So yesterday we were hearing about Brahma Vimohan Leela, the pastime of Brahma the first created being within this universe, being bewildered by Krishna. So he was initially bewildered by Krishna, indirectly, but by Krishna's own desire. Everything is manifested by Krishna's Yogamaya potency, and so through the aspect of Krishna known as Bhagavan, or as Paramatma, within Brahma's heart, he was bewildered to try to bewilder Krishna. So he wanted to see more pastimes, so he created an obstacle for Krishna. When you put an obstacle, like let's say you put something in front of a river, you see how the river moves around it. So he puts an obstacle in this pastime of Krishna, as Krishna is taking lunch with his cowherd boyfriends, millions and millions of them all sitting around him, sharing love and affection in the form of lunch. Means their own parents and themselves. Oh, this tastes so good, Krishna, you should try this. Krishna, close your eyes, I have such a beautiful thing from my mother for you. Krishna closes his eyes and opens his mouth, and in goes a chili pakora, or a dandelion flower. This is the nature of young boys' play. This is the nature of Vrindavan, which is so sweet. It is called Naravat Lila, human-like pastimes. In Vrindavan, no one thinks Krishna is God, and Krishna himself forgets, I am God, and love rules everything. Prem rules everything. So Brahma puts the obstacle in front of Krishna. What is that obstacle? As the calves wandered far away, while Krishna and the cowherd boys were taking lunch, Brahma stole the calves and hid them in a mountain cave. And then the cowherd boys noticed, hey, where are our calves? We should go and search for them. And Krishna said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. You continue your lunch. So Krishna went to search for the calves, and then at that time Brahma stole all of the cowherd boys and put them in a mountain cave. He put all of these calves and cowherd boys into yoga nidra. It's a kind of a deep, like anesthetized sleep state. And so many things happened which we spoke about yesterday, but eventually, very soon actually, because Brahma he headed back to his kingdom, and immediately he realized, wait, something's wrong here. Because Krishna had manifested himself in the form of Brahma, entered into Brahmalok and said to the guards, be careful, there's an imposter outside. Whatever you do, don't let him in. He looks just like me, but he's a fake. So the guards stopped him and said, you're not allowed in, get lost. And he was thinking, how can this be possible? Immediately he realized, oh no, I think I made a big mistake. So it took him 1 moment to go there and 1 moment to come back, but each of those moments was equivalent to 6 months. So it was a total of 1 year before Brahma came back. What had happened? As soon as all of the calves and all of the cowherd boys were missing, Krishna was thinking, what to do? And by his Yogamaya potency, immediately from his own form expanded millions of cowherd boys, exact replicas of the originals. And millions of calves, exact replicas of the originals. Why? Because Krishna wanted to taste the Vatsalya Prem of all of these parents directly, and he wanted to taste the Vatsalya Prem of all of these cows directly. Why did he want to taste that? Because they wanted to give it. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Ye yata mam prapadyante tangstataiva bhajamyaham. As one is approaching me, I reciprocate accordingly. So their desire was to serve him with pure parental love and affection. So Krishna manifested himself into millions of cowherd boy forms, each with their unique attributes, their voices, their personalities, and everything. So for 1 year, these pastimes were going on. Baladev Prabhu was noticing something odd. Previously, all of the parents would give more love and affection to Krishna first, and then they would give it to their own children. But now they're lathering their own children with love and affection first. When their own children come, they're embracing them. The fathers are smelling the heads of their children. This is something, sign of affection, and it also creates a deep bond of affection. I remember reading this in Krishna book. And all of the cows normally, until they would see Krishna, milk would not flow from their udders. But now milk was spontaneously pouring for their own middle-aged calves, more than the baby calves. because those middle-aged calves were direct manifestations of Krishna. So all of these parent figures, cows also are the mother. They were all able to express their Vatsalya Prem for Krishna, who had manifested as all of these boys and calves. And Baladev Prabhu was scratching his head. How is it possible? What's going on here? This is not normal. For 1 year also Baladev Prabhu was bewildered by this Yoga Maya potency, and he was wondering, what is it? It's not Mahamaya, it's not my own Maya. Which illusion is this, which is creating it that I also cannot understand? Even Baladev, if Krishna doesn't want him to understand, then he cannot understand. And Krishna's pastimes are so unlimited that even Krishna cannot understand or come to the end of them, and neither can Baladev Prabhu, even as Ananta Shesh with his millions of mouths, glorifying Krishna since time without beginning. Glorifying Krishna's unlimited pastimes, Ananta Shesh feels, I have not begun to scratch the surface of his glories. What to speak of us, how we are endeavoring to glorify Krishna. We're so incompetent, and yet it is for our own benefit that we should always try to remember Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Shravanam, hear those pastimes. Kirtanam, chant those pastimes. And Smaranam, remember those pastimes, always. Chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna, as our Srila Gurudev would say. So, for 1 year, Baladev Prabhu was very confused. What's going on here? I don't understand what's going on. And guess who was the most confused? Brahma himself. 6 months, human years, in human time, it took him to go, and 6 months to come back. For him, it was a single moment. He realized, I made a big mistake. He came in front of the Lord and saw that Krishna is playing with all of the cowherd boys and all of the calves. Wait a second, how is this possible? He must be the Supreme Lord. So our Gurudev said, with 2 heads, Brahma was looking in the direction of the caves where he put the calves and the cowherd boys. And with 2 heads, he was looking at Krishna and all of his cows and calves and cowherd boys. And he was thinking, is it maybe Krishna is the master of all mystics? He's taking them from there and then putting them here and then taking them and putting them back. So Brahma became bewildered and confused. And then at that time, Krishna manifested to him something quite amazing. What Brahma saw was the extent of Aishwarya. So we cannot say that it was Braj Krishna himself necessarily who is manifesting this, but any aspect within himself is doing so, because when the original is there, all parts of himself, all avatars are also present within himself, and he accomplishes all sorts of functions through all of these different avatars. So you could say that they are non-different from him, yet they are different in another sense. Right? From one verse in Brahma Samhita, it explains that they are all non-different as one fire is non-different from the rest. And then in the next verse it says, Ram Adi Murti Shukala Nimena Tishtan, that Ram and all other avatars are like manifestations or particular phases or features of the same one supreme personality, who is Krishna. Krishna Svayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So what did Krishna show him? Krishna showed him that all of these boys, millions of cowherd boys and millions of calves, were all himself, not different. All of them manifested beautiful 4-armed Narayan forms. And Brahma was completely astonished. Not only that, but all of the Brahmas, all of the Shivas, all of the Indras, all of the Jivas, and all of the Brahmandas, means in every single universe simultaneously, were offering their pranam and glorifying Krishna in all of these forms. So Brahma saw this and he was completely astonished and mesmerized. So yesterday we read that Brahma, when he saw this, he began praying. O Bhagavan, first you showed that you were alone. Then you showed that all of the boys and calves are all Bhagavan. And finally you showed that everything is Bhagavan. Without Bhagavan, nothing can have its existence. No jiva can exist and no material object can exist. But at the same time, everything is not directly Bhagavan. So here we're saying, you're showing that everything is Bhagavan, but everything is not directly Bhagavan. So I mentioned yesterday that this is achintya bheda abheda tattva. The inconceivable, simultaneous difference and not difference between the Lord and all of His creation. Nothing has its separate existence from Him, and at the same time, everything also has its own, you can call it individuality, its own nature, as subservient to Him. So even the servant aspect is still part of Him, and this is called Advaigyan Paratattva, the supreme, non-dual, absolute truth. Means there's non-duality, but within that there's infinite variety. How do we reconcile this? My God! How can everything be one, but at the same time not one? In our Param Gurudev Sri Vinod Bihari Tattvashtakam, he says, Sagunam Nirgunam Tattvam Bheda Bhedam Machintyakam Shakti Shakti Matoraikyam Yugapad Vartate Sada. At the same time, he's full of all transcendental qualities and attributes. And Nirgunam, he has no material qualities and attributes. This is the Tattva. Bheda Bhedam Achintyakam. Bheda Abheda. Achintyakam. Inconceivably, simultaneously different and not different from His creation. Shakti Shakti Mador Aikyam. How is it possible? Because He's accomplishing all of this through the potency of, through Shakti. So the Supreme Lord manifests His potencies. And His potencies take care of the aspect of providing His transcendental Vishai. Means He is the supreme enjoyer, and all Shakti and everything else provides the shelter for that, or serves His supreme enjoyment. Therefore, everything else is known as Ashray. Means there is nothing in creation or existence that is separate from or equal to Him, and it all has its function in serving His divine will. This is the nature of God. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaja would quote the famous German philosopher Hegel, that God by definition is of Himself and for Himself. So this is the definition of, basic foundational definition of God. Mahaprabhu confirms this when he speaks to Sanatan Goswami. Advaigyan Tattva, the supreme non-dual absolute truth, is none other than Braje Brajendra Nandan. The supreme personality of Godhead, or the supreme non-dual absolute truth, is none other than Vrindavan's son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. So now after Brahma gave his vad here, Sudevi yesterday said, oh, he's this Brahma vad. I thought it was a funny joke, that he was speaking that everything is Bhagavan. And she said, oh, that is Brahmavad. But then afterward he said, but it's not directly. So then we have the Achintya Bheda Abhed Tattva. So after witnessing this pastime, Brahma said, O Bhagavan, who can describe the glories of your inconceivable potency, Achintya Shakti? Jananta eva janantu, kim bhaguktya name prabho, manaso vapusho vacho, vaibhavam tavagocharaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-38. This Brahma Vimohan Lila was the last section that Srila Prabhupada was working on, our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, before he entered. I don't want to say enter Nitya Lila. He was always in Nitya Lila and always in transcendental samadhi as well. But before he departed from our vision. So he was working on this Brahma Vimohan Lila, speaking about these pastimes when he departed our vision. Those people who say that they know Bhagavan, that they know the glories of Bhagavan, in reality they know nothing. Until today I also thought like that I know Bhagavan, but actually I'm unable to describe his glories. We also see this with Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Sri Chaitanya how when Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to glorify any divine transcendental personality, he first curses himself. What a foolish person I think I am. The audacity to try to glorify that person whose glories are infinite. How can I do such a thing? It is audacious of me to even endeavor to do so, but still for my own benefit, I must make the endeavor. So, like our Gurudev said, to try is bhakti. What capacity do I have? Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur also said this, I believe in the second verse of Sri Krishna Samhita. That what a fool that I think that a particle of dust like myself can absorb the ocean of the Absolute. Even we have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then we have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. It is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sprinkled one drop of his mercy on Rupa Goswami, and what we have received from that is known as the ocean of Bhakti Rasa Amrita, the ocean of the nectar of Bhakti Ras, transcendental loving service to Krishna. But that's still from one drop. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur took one drop from that. That is Bindu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. And still, it is an ocean of nectar, which proves the point. Om Purnam Madap Purnamidam Purnat Purnamidachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That the Lord Himself can manifest Himself infinitely and never loses any part of Himself. So Harikatha continues to manifest in such ways because He's transcendental, He's eternal, and He never loses any part of Himself. So those who say that they know Bhagavan, that they know the glories of Bhagavan, in reality they know nothing. We should never be so proud to think that I know everything. Even if we've memorized Srimad Bhagavatam from front to back, we cannot think that that is all of the pastimes of Krishna. That is a snippet of some of the pastimes of Krishna. And only someone who has true access, because their eyes are smeared with the salve of love, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, when they see Srimad Bhagavatam, they see all of the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, and they're able to speak about what they're able to speak about, like Ananta Shesh. Even if they were for all time to be glorifying Krishna, still His glories are so unlimited, they would also feel unable to scratch the surface. So in one sense, they understand and know everything because they know Krishna. They are the heart of Krishna. And in the other sense, Krishna's glories are absolutely unlimited. So new and fresh and beautiful pastimes are always manifesting from Krishna since forever. So there is no lack of transcendental pastimes of Krishna. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, all the material newspapers and radio broadcasts and everything that we receive, they're going 24 hours a day. But this is only one small section of all of creation. We should be able to make newspapers and articles every second of every day and distribute these, because from the transcendental realm there is a constant, steady flow of unlimited transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So we should have this faith. If we can somehow come close to the heart of a Vaisnava, to a sadhu, a real sadhu, then there will be no end to the transcendental gossip of the spiritual world, which is not only wonderful, beautiful, and amazing, but it is also fulfilling and purifying, and it takes us from here to our eternal nature of loving service to Krishna. So what to speak of Brahma? Even Krishna Himself cannot describe His own glories. He cannot find the depth of the glories of His own name, qualities, and form. And especially from His own form manifested Srimati Radhika. We hear this, that He was alone playing flute in Vangshivat, feeling a mood of desires to taste ras. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shakti Rasmad. From that desire manifested His own transcendental potency, Hladini Shakti. For what purpose? So that He could experience the exchange of love and affection. It takes two transcendental personalities. So for his own purpose, he manifested an extension of himself, which Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita compares to a spotless mirror. That mirror is like a manifestation of his own heart, and the mirror exists only for the pleasure of the person looking into it. So Radhika has no selfishness whatsoever. Every particle of her being, which is completely transcendental, is purely for Krishna's happiness, for Krishna's pleasure, for Krishna's benefit. But still, this is confusing to him because he sees that that thing which has manifested from him, that perfect spotless mirror, appears to be enjoying millions of times more by serving him than he is by experiencing that service. That creates a conundrum. Imagine the Supreme Lord of everything, the creator of all of that be, that person who knows everything, for whom not a blade of grass moves without his sanction, whom death itself is afraid of, fear itself is afraid of Krishna. The sun and moon move in their orbits according to his will. Everything moves according to his will. Everything dances according to his will. But something happens which creates a conundrum. Yes, the Supreme Lord of everything himself becomes bewildered by love and affection, pure love and affection, and especially the highest form of pure love and affection, the selfless service of his own manifestation in the form of Rishabhananandini Srimati Radha Thakurani. It creates such a confusion with him. How is it possible that she's experiencing millions of times more happiness and pleasure by serving me than I am by experiencing her seva? And then immediately he's thinking, wait a second, if she's experiencing more happiness, I want to experience what she's experiencing. Because he is the taster, the enjoyer. So something has looped, in effect. This is, have you ever seen, had a mirror behind you and a mirror in front of you, and you stand there and you see that it goes out forever until you can't see anymore. So in this relationship, it is increasing and increasing and increasing, a transcendental beauty competition, as Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaja explained. Transcendental beauty competition. More and more. It is increasing, and Krishna's desire is overwhelming. What is the greatness of her love? That she is experiencing more transcendental happiness than I am. I want to know that. I want to taste it. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrishavanaeva Ashvadyo Yena Adbhuta Madhurima Kidrishavamadiya. Ashvadyo. What is it about me that she is tasting? Ashvadan. Ashvadyo Yena Adbhuta. Adbhuta means that wonderful thing about my sweetness that she is experiencing. And then Sokyam Chasya. What is the happiness, Sokyam, that she is experiencing upon serving me? Or Mad Anubhavata, upon experiencing my love and affection for her. What happiness does she experience? So he wants to experience from the perspective of the topmost devotee. And from that, Radha Tadbhavadyam Samajani Shachikarva Sindo Harindu, or Radha Bhava Dyuti Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. He has taken shelter of Srimati Radhika's moods of love and affection for Krishna and manifested as Sri Shachinandan Gaura Hari. Sri Shachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai. So even Krishna cannot understand the extent of his own glories. He became Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He descended in this form to investigate his own glories, but he still couldn't find their depth. So here's confirmation of this. Why do you think it is that Krishna, taking the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually he's taking the bhav of Srimati Radhika, and because of this bhav, it is manifesting this complexion as well. Because in the transcendental realm, whatever bhav one has manifests a complexion. So Krishna, who's the Vishai, the enjoyer, is absorbing everything, and his complexion of Vishai Bhagavan is Indra Nilamani. Nilamani, blue like a blue sapphire, brilliant, deep, deep, so dark, so blue that it looks black, and also like translucent and, what is the word? And effulgent simultaneously, or the color of a dark monsoon rain cloud. But all of these material examples, they cannot touch the reality. They cannot touch the reality of his complexion, because his complexion is actually the complexion of God, the Supreme Enjoyer. So we can't only guesstimate with our material mind, but the reality will be so much more amazing than we can ever figure out by the material senses. And the complexion of Ashray, who is serving Krishna, especially Srimati Radhika, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Gaurangi means all of her limbs are gaur. Gaur means golden, but the term that is used is like molten gold. Have you ever seen molten gold? It's different than gold. We always use the color gold, but molten gold is so bright it is even difficult to look at. It is glowing, effulgent. White hot, if you want to call it that. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. So desiring to experience the bhav of Gaurangi, Sri Krishna, taking shelter of her moods of love and affection, became Gauranga. Srila Govinda Maharaja explains this, that complexion, the duty, is the manifestation of the bhav, or the mood that Krishna is tasting. And therefore he manifested as Sachinandan Gaurahari with this Gaura, golden, or molten golden complexion, which is the manifestation of this bhav, these moods. And yet, Radhika's function or mood is different than Krishna's function or mood, even when Krishna is trying to taste her bhavs. Why? Because Krishna wants to enjoy what she's enjoying, or she's not trying to enjoy what she's enjoying. Does that make sense? Krishna's trying to enjoy what she's tasting. That's his purpose. I want that. I want that. But she doesn't want that. She just wants Krishna to be pleased, Krishna to be served. So here Gurudev is confirming this again. He descended in this form to investigate his own glories, but he still couldn't find their depth. So even in the form of Mahaprabhu, who is endeavoring to taste, Gurudev has said in many different occasions, and Shastra has also confirmed, that Krishna's endeavoring to taste these bhavs. But still there's a speciality, and that speciality is that Noni Krishna Swarupam. Inside he's still Krishna. But he's covered with the mood and the complexion of Srimati Radhika. Radha Bhava Duty Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. Where Srimati Radhika is Srimati Radhika. And of course she has Krishna in her heart, but her whole everything is not for her own pleasure at all. So there's something in this, there's a speciality in this instruction. In this way, Krishna is inconceivable. He is one but becomes many. He is mugdha, meaning forgetful. By Yogamaya and by Prem, Krishna himself forgets that he is God, and he thinks, I'm an ordinary child, the son of Yashoda and Nanda Baba, the friend of Sridam, Sudam, Dama, Sudam, and the beloved of the gopis, Srimati Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Champak, Lata, Tunga, Vidya, Sudevi, Ranga Devi. Hopefully I didn't miss any of the Ashtasakis, Indulekha, and so many millions of others who I cannot name at this point in time. So he is mugdha, and simultaneously he is sarvagya. At the same time he is all-knowing. All contradictory qualities are harmonized in him. There is a quote from Srila Prabhupada, or maybe even in the shlokas of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna is that personality within whom all impossibilities or all contradictions are reconciled within himself. This is inconceivable. That is achintya, but that is his nature. So we can struggle to understand this inconceivable thing through our material mind, intelligence, and senses. But Krishna is adhokshaja. He is beyond the realm of the material mind, intelligence, and senses. So to try to understand it or figure it out, Gurudev said, don't attempt to understand this through mental speculation. In other words, we must accept the words of Shastra, Guru and Sadhu, that complement one another. But if we try to figure it out by our own sense perception, we will be completely discombobulated. It's not possible to figure it out by our material mind or intelligence or ego or senses, because they are material and they cannot touch which is beyond the material. So what we receive, we can accept, and we may understand something of that. Even Gurudev said about the jiva. Krishna says, what is that verse? Some see the soul as amazing, some describe him, the soul, the jiva, as amazing. Some, and others just can't understand. So Gurudev said about the jiva, he said, what we are telling you at this point in time is to give you some idea so that you have some concept to wrap your mind around. He said, but in reality, it is much more amazing than you could ever understand through your material mind, intelligence, ego, or senses. And he said, only through Nam Bhajan, through taking shelter of the process of serving Radha and Krishna through Harinam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By the will of the Lord can all of this be revealed or manifest in the heart. And then we can understand by His grace, but not by our own power, not by our own self-centered endeavors. But mercy or divine knowledge is descending. But Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surya. Transcendental knowledge was manifest into the heart of Brahma. Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoite. Guru makes Krishna appear in the heart. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita. Transcendental knowledge is manifest into the heart. So this is a very interesting thing. Bhakti, or transcendental or divine knowledge, is not a function of my capacity to grab it. We can't. It's not possible to do so. They talk about it like Ravan attempted to build a staircase to heaven. And I think there's some parable like that in the Bible. I think it was called the Tower of Babel, isn't it? Trying to build a staircase to heaven. But we cannot do that. What is beyond the material energy? How we can't even pierce the outer coverings of this material universe. So how can we go beyond that? By material senses. Mind, intelligence, and ego are subtle material senses. They're also incapable of grabbing the Absolute. So the Absolute, by His own choice, may reveal Himself. Yasyadeve prabhaktir tateve tataguru tasyaite katitahyakta prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those souls who have the same, those sincere souls, who have the same faith in Sri Guru and Bhagavan, are all knowledge of the Vedas manifest in their heart. And Krishna confirms this also in Bhagavad Gita, that I am seated within everyone's heart. And from me, by me, matak smatir jnanam, all knowledge is manifest by me. And also forgetfulness and bewilderment. Matak smatir jnanam apohanam cha, he says, etc. and so forth. So all knowledge is manifest from Him through the process of bhakti, by following under the guidance of Sri Guru, following the sadhana they prescribe, and endeavoring with mind, body, words, and everything, our heart, to serve and please Gurudev, Gauranga and Radha and Krishna. then what will come as a result of that? Bhakti will come. Not only bhakti, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahoitukam. By that process of Bhakti Yoga to Bhagavan, to Krishna, then what will manifest? Vairagyam means deep attachment, deep attachment to Krishna, by which we will lose all taste for anything in this world. And also transcendental knowledge, jnanam chayat ahoitukam, means causeless, means no material cause, which means it's descending from the transcendental realm. Srila Gurudev Maharaja explained that as one is endeavoring on the path of bhakti, that really means following the order of the spiritual master, especially at this point. Because the spiritual master is the first form of Krishna in our lives, who is guiding us how to develop our love and affection for Krishna in a way that Krishna will be properly served and properly pleased. This is important. We need training. So they're guiding us in such a way. So by their mercy, when they see that we are weeping, that we are crying, and that we're endeavoring and serving, then they will give us bhakti in installments, like little gifts of bhakti. But bhakti sukriti stacks up and gradually builds inside. And then by more and more bhakti sukriti, we will be able to ascertain, understand, and receive even more. So it builds. It builds more and more and more. These days, people are looking at the wealthiest people in this world, and they're going, my God, everyone else is suffering in this world, and those guys are getting richer. How are they getting richer? Because they already have so much money. And so that money just builds itself. They don't even have to do anything, because it's so much. But for someone who's very poor, they have to struggle. So at this point, we may have to struggle and pray and cry, but gradually through bhakti sukriti, as it comes more and more, shraddha, nishta, ruchi, ashakti, bhav, then it starts to build. It starts to gallop rapidly forward, praying, then continuing onward. So Srila Gurudev explained this, that from the point of shraddha to nishta to ruchi, it takes a long time. But then after ruchi, because transcendental taste is there, there's greed. And that greed impels one, pulls one forward by any means whatsoever. Like Rupa Goswami, he's telling, actually paraphrasing the bhava of Srimati Radhika. Tunde tannavani ritim vitanute tundavani labdhaye karna krodha kadambani gadayate karnabude vyaspriham cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janitakki adviramritai krishneti vannadvai. How much nectar do these two syllables, Krishna, possess within them? Krishna. When we chant it, what do we experience? We can say Hare Krishna once or twice, or even 16 rounds, and then go and do all kinds of nonsense activities. But for that transcendental personality, how much nectar is there? Oh, this one tongue is not sufficient to taste the nectar. Millions of tongues are required. These 2 ears are not sufficient to drink that nectar. Millions of ears are required. When that name situates itself within the cave of one's heart, and all one's senses become inert, means you completely lose track of what's going on outside. Evam ratasvapiya namakitya. All ashtasattvic bhavs manifest. But one is not aware of what anything is going on the outside, or what anyone is saying about them or thinking about them. Completely absorbed. Means external, all of the concerns for the external, they disappear. One's fully absorbed inside. How much nectar is there? So by the time one comes to the point of ruchi and then asakti, deep attachment, how can you turn back? Higher taste is there. Why would you be attracted to stool? You're tasting nectar at every step. Purna amrita ashvadanam. If someone is turning towards stool, it means they haven't really tasted the nectar. That's why they say, all of the pure devotees say, that for whom the material world holds no charm whatsoever. How can it charm them? It's all stool. You leave it and you walk away and you don't look back. Oh, let me go. That's why in Shastra it is said that when a sannyasi or someone takes sannyas, they've given up all of these things. They've vomited it out and they're embarking on the path to Krishna. I've decided to surrender my life exclusively in devotion to Krishna. But then what happens? If they fall down, then our gurus, our acharyas, and our Shastra calls them bantasi. Bantasi. I think that's where the word fantasy comes from. Bantasi means one who eats their own vomit. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's what it means. Means again they've gone back to eat that thing that they've already vomited out. Why are our Guru Varga and our Shastras calling it vomit? Because they have no attraction for it whatsoever. Come on, when someone vomits in a room, the room clears out. We've experienced these things. We have experienced this. The room clears out. No one wants to be where vomit is. It's not nice. The smell is not nice. The substance is not nice. Why would anyone who is tasting the nectar of Krishna Bhakti Rasa, really, truly, and seriously tasting the nectar of Krishna Bhakti Rasa, be attracted to such a thing? That is why Sri Jamunacharya says, if even the thought enters my mind, immediately my lips curl with distaste and I spit at that thought after having tasted the nectar of Krishna Bhakti Rasa. So if somebody is going from the supposed position of tasting nectar at every step to the point of running after vomit and stool of this world, then you could know that that is not a real taste. That is utsaha mayi, or false enthusiasm. It's maybe some people get really excited. Oh my God, I was tasting. I'm tasting. Is it true? Is it really true? That's why Gurudeva would always tell us that we should feel our own pulses. We should check. Where are we at really? Am I really tasting the nectar of Krishna Bhakti Rasa, or am I a pretender? Luckily today we heard in this bhajan, Kali Kukur Kadana Jadi Chahe, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kapata, it says, Kapata Vigatana Kama. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is removing this kapata, this hypocrisy, duplicity. But we must be under the guidance of real Vaishnavas. They will cut that with the sword of transcendental knowledge, sometimes in the form of harsh words, which we require because our cheating tendency is inherent and ingrained within the material, conditioned, embodied life. This is one of the 4 defects. One of the 4 defects. Brahm, illusion. Pramada, making mistakes. Karanapadava, imperfect senses. And Vipralipsa, the tendency to cheat others. So Sri Guru Vaishnava, real Guru, Sadguru, who is completely absorbed in serving Krishna, for whom the material world holds no charm whatsoever, they can detect this cheating tendency with us. And with the sword of transcendental knowledge in the form of strong language, they can cut that cheating tendency from our heart. We require it. We require it. We're in desperate need of that kind of help, because this kapata, this duplicity, this hypocrisy will bar us from being able to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So in order to go forward, then this gradually needs to be ripped from our heart. We can also pray to Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan for this purpose. Vaishnavas pray to him for that. With your very powerful, strong nails, please destroy these tendencies of my heart, these anarthas which are stopping me from moving forward on the path of bhakti. Oh Narasimhadev Bhagavan, please be merciful to me like this. Rip apart my kapata, my kutinati, my duplicity, my hypocrisy, all of my material attachments which are binding me in this blazing forest fire. So, What awakens faith in a person who does not have faith that the words of the pure Vaishnava is transcendental? How do they realize that such souls are not fallible like us? This is a function of the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of Vaishnavas. And it must come at one point or another. First of all, we have received Shastra as well. So faith in Shastra, faith in Guru, faith in Vaishnavas, faith in Bhagavan, this comes through Sukriti over a long time. Transcendental Sukriti. That's why Mrigari was able to listen to Narada Muni. When Narada Muni said, stop, Mrigari wants you to kill him. Hey, you're disturbing my fun. He came to kill Narada Muni. Narada Muni said, stop. Immediately Mrigari stopped. Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj explained, why did he stop? Because from previous lifetimes he had amassed enough Sukriti to follow the word of the sadhu. That much. So if one's Sukriti or spiritual merits in their spiritual bank account is weak, then they may not be able to develop faith very rapidly. And so you see that some will come to Vaishnavism or the path of bhakti for some time. When they're sitting in front of Sri Guru, they will hear a little bit and maybe not a lot, and then they might leave that path. Oh, their Sukriti was not enough. They didn't have enough faith in the words of the spiritual master. So their Sukriti came up to a certain point, but it just wasn't strong enough to hold them. The material energy or their samsara also has a very powerful pull. They have not yet developed taste. They have not yet developed nishtha. Guru nishtha is the backbone of bhakti. They have not even developed full shraddha. Maybe a little bit of regard and respect. So some Sukriti comes, but they can also be pulled by the material energy. We've gained so much momentum in the material energy for trillions and trillions of lifetimes. And it is a very difficult task to pull one jiva from that. Srila Gurudev Maharaj said, all of our Guru Varga said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, if even just one soul in all of the universes hears this message and actually diverts his attention from Maya toward the service of Krishna, I will find that my service to Mahaprabhu is successful. If even just one actually, truly, honestly moves toward Krishna, he said, I will find that my service to Mahaprabhu is successful. And Gurudeva also said that. If even one, then I am happy. Then Gurudev said, so I am happy. So, how do they realize that such souls are not fallible like us? So there are many tricks. One is Harinam Sankirtan, means street Sankirtan. The holy name's vibration, which is going through the atmosphere, will touch anyone and anything, even those who don't realize and don't know it, because vibration continues. It doesn't stop. Even modern science says that. I don't know which law it is, but energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is only moved from one position to another. So that energy, the vibrational energy of the holy names, is purifying in all directions. That's why Haridas Thakur said to chant loudly is even superior to chant than chanting softly, because when one chants loudly, not only are themselves benefited, but everyone and everything, even the grass, the trees, the creepers, the insects, everything is benefited. And Srila Gurudev made this point also. He said, like throwing a pebble into a pond, the ripples will go to all edges of that pond. But with Harinam, because it's not being thrown into water, it's in the atmosphere, in the ether, it goes in all directions, even crosses the outer reaches of this universe, and goes to the feet of Krishna. So he said, even if any animal is being killed, or someone is dying at that time or whatever, still that vibration will touch them and they will get some spiritual benefit. So this is one of the main things that all of our Guru Varga have instructed. Nam Sankirtan. Niraparara Nam Loilo Paya Premadhan. Nam Sankirtan is so important. And then also, whoever you meet, wherever you go, tell whoever you meet about Krishna. Mahaprabhu is ordering this. So there's so many things. Prasadam, we can give. Offered foodstuffs, make festivals, and bring people, invite them. You come, and gradually Sukriti will develop. And maybe in the beginning it is known as Agyata Sukriti, unknown spiritual merit. Wow, did you taste that? And in the beginning it might just be because they like it for their own sense pleasure, but still, fire will act, whether one realizes it or not. If you don't know it and you touch it, still it will act. So gradually there's Agyata Sukriti, then gradually we start to perform activities which are favorable for bhakti, and then we make what is known as Gyata Sukriti, or transcendental spiritual merits in knowledge. That I'm following the order of Gurudev in the process of bhakti, which is increasing my spiritual merit, by which I will be able to absorb and retain spiritual subject matter by their mercy, by which I will be able to develop more and hold on more strongly. This is the benefit of Sukriti. In other words, is there any preliminary guidance that can be given that will bring one to that point? It depends on the individual according to their own subjective evolution of consciousness. Because we don't know where anyone's at. You can look in the street and you think, wow, man, these people are completely out there. There's no chance. You see what Srila Prabhupada did? He sat in the park, closed his eyes, chanted Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta, playing his kartals, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. According to the individual's Sukriti, which was already present within them, you could see how so many reacted. Some came very close and began dancing around him and chanting. Those persons had that much Sukriti. And they were doing parikrama of the pure devotee at the same time, while chanting the holy names. And many of those became his disciples. Some stood at a distance and watched with interest, but they didn't want to get too close. Others were just at a far off distance, just hearing the vibration, but minding their own business, but they didn't realize that the vibration was touching them. And others felt a little bit threatened maybe and walked the other way, but still they were touched. So according to their own individual, already the sanskars, the impressions or the sukritis which they had developed maybe from previous lifetimes, in so many different lifetimes, people react accordingly. And this is for everyone. We don't know where anyone is at. Sometimes a brand new devotee joins, and the next day they're 1,000 miles past you, and you're like, hey, how did that happen? They were brand new. And they're already chanting 3 lakhs of Harinam, they understand all Tattva Siddhanta, they're serving and doing everything. And you're like, but that doesn't seem fair. Apparently their Sukriti was more advanced. I look at it like this. We're all digging our tunnel. We're all searching for that treasure, Krishna in the heart. So some have dug hundreds of feet, some have dug 1,000 feet, some have dug only 10 feet. We're digging this way, Krishna's coming the other way. So we're making our endeavor, that is our hard endeavor or cheshta. And Krishna's coming from the other side, that is known as kripa, mercy. So some in previous lifetimes have dug 1,000 feet, and maybe they only have 100 feet left to go. And we've only dug 100 feet, and we've got 1,000 feet left to go. So we may have come in the beginning 100 feet and it felt easy, and suddenly, boom, we hit the wall, and then the digging starts. And then we see this guy run past us. He's got 1,000 feet of free, clear running. And then he hits the wall, and then he has to start digging. Does that make sense? So this is like our Sukriti. Ooh, Hare Krishna. We have developed to a certain point, according to our individual subjective evolutions of consciousness, and then we will have to start doing that hard work at that point where we have left off. So Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned this quite often in his books, that even a little progress on this path saves one from the greatest danger. Why? Because any little progress cannot be lost. But it can be stunted by Vaishnava aparad. It means it'll be like we don't have tools. So it's hard to dig without tools. It'll be different. So we have to be very careful for certain things on our path of bhakti. But still, at one point we will all have to do some hard work. And you see some, they seem to go so fast and suddenly they hit that wall and then it becomes difficult. And they just go, oh my God, I can't do it. But all of our Guru Varga say, Shastra says, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha nishtaya dharyat tat karma pravartana sangatyagat sato vritesh bhir bhaktir prasiddhyati. These first three always maintain enthusiasm, utsaha, nishchaya, firm determination that I will attain my goal. One must have a goal and one must have conviction and determination to reach that goal. That determination is brought about by association with Vaishnavas who increase that greed in our heart for Krishna Bhakti Rasa, and then Dharyat, patience. Krishna didn't come today. Well, maybe he will manifest tomorrow. Srila Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, he would chant like that on his Japamala. Each bead, he would chant Hare Krishna. And he would say, for sure Krishna will manifest in this mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh. He didn't manifest in this bead. Maybe something derailed him. But for sure he will manifest in the next bead. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. With such determination, such enthusiasm, such one-pointedness, and with a patience as well. Oh, he didn't come. Okay, the next one, the next one. With this kind of hope and enthusiasm, he would take shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu and serve Sri Harinam Prabhu. So now the time is getting a little late. Law of conservation of energy. And Jivapadana Prabhu posted some very nice quote. Srila Prabhupada said, if people are engaged in seva or service, then faith will come. As seva increases, so will knowledge and faith. Thank you, Prabhu. That's beautiful. Everyone has faith. It's just a matter of where they choose to place it. Nice. Nitai Das, if the amount of mercy we receive is dependent on our level of endeavor, then how does Kripa Siddhi differ from other Siddhis? Is it that in Kripa Siddhi we receive more mercy than the amount we have put in out of good fortune? So there's different kinds of Siddhi or perfection. We hear that there are Kripa Siddhas, those who have attained perfection due to mercy. Sadhan Siddhas, those who attain perfection out of their sadhan. But one thing we should understand, what is sadhan? Sadhan is the cry for mercy. It is the endeavor to call for mercy. And so that mercy comes by that. Some people, very rarely, you will have someone who doesn't do very much. And in one moment, everything is zapped. But this is not how zapped means zapped into them. We've seen this and heard of this in Shastra. It doesn't appear that they've done so much, but in a moment, someone like Narada Muni can give them everything. Or like Haridas Thakur, 3 days and that prostitute became a pure devotee. We see things like this, but this is not the general rule, the general norm. So we shouldn't just sit back and be lazy and think, oh yeah, I'm going to be a Kripa Siddha, so I don't need to do anything. No, that's Kripa. The mercy which comes will come when they see that we are endeavoring hard to follow. Srila Gurudeva Maharaj explains this. Why do we do sadhana? If by our own power and our own ability, we can't really grasp that thing, then why do we do sadhana? He said, because Guru tells you to do it. And when he sees that you're sincerely endeavoring to follow the process and the instructions that he's giving you, then he will give you these allotments or installments of bhakti. This is mercy.
Also our process isn't, it's, what is it, Cheshta? Come on, Subi.
Cheshta and Kripa. This question was asked to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
It's in terms of the question.
The question was asked to Mahaprabhu, which one is it? Is it our hard endeavor, like a baby monkey holding on to its mother? Or is it kripa, mercy, like a baby cat completely dependent on his mother's mouth to carry him everywhere? Which one is it? And Mahaprabhu said both, Cheshta and Kripa. And we see that in the pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna, when it came to these two fingers too short, what do these two fingers represent? One represents the mercy of Krishna, and the other one represents hard endeavor. So Mother Yashoda made a vow, I swear to Narayan that I will never stop unless I bind my son. And she was doing what she could, giving all of her energy. It means her hard endeavor was there, and Krishna's Kripa Shakti, his mercy potency, met her hard endeavor at that point where she was able to bind him with the ropes of her love and affection. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanadu Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Oh look, Jiva Pavana Prabhu shared this cat and monkey logic. Thank you. So we will continue tomorrow. So thank you very much for being with us today, for giving inspiration by your presence to remember all of these beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and Guru Varga, and for engaging us in the service that our Gurudev has given us. Without you, we would be lost. So thank you. We are indebted by your assistance for us to be able to do our seva. And we look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat pranam. Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe. Dandavat pranam.